And we're back with the internet's most unpopular commentary series, doing our best to piss people off with such egregious hot takes as writers should have basic writing skills, sets should be well lit when you have millions of dollars, and adults probably shouldn't talk to children about putting things up their ass. That's right, you hate to love it, you love to hate it, but either way, it's generating the hate. It's an honest review of HBO's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Part 4! Alright, so let's get serious. Don't forget to smash that dislike, unsubscribe, and tell me why I'm wrong in the comments section. Because we're about to review what is probably the strongest episode so far. Part 4 was pretty good, and there was a few things that, totally fucking sucked. It's HBO, but overall, there was a lot of pretty good stuff in here. So let's dive right in, let's explore what worked, what didn't, and we'll talk about it for a minute or two. So we start off with Dunk, and Dunk's in prison, and, that's kind of obvious because he was just, arrested for whooping the piss out of one of the princes. And mercifully, while he is in a squatting position, they didn't have him, taking a fat shit on a can or something, which blew my mind, but strong start. He's where he's supposed to be. It makes sense with the story. Obviously, the lighting could be improved here, as usual, but at least the character is doing what they, should be doing based on the plot. And so Dunk's petting his new friend, the rat, here, but he doesn't get much chance to get familiar with Radigan because Egg shows up, and he's going to sit down and talk with him for a minute because Egg's brought him a little bit to eat. Now, I know this scene's generated a little bit of controversy or whatever, at least I saw that in the comment section, that some people were upset by, Dunk being upset or something, but honestly, for the most part, none of this is super poorly handled or anything. There's nothing too ridiculous here. We don't have to deal with a cock joke, and we're not taking a shit. It's pretty solid. I'm not going to say it's the best in the world, but it's pretty solid. Egg's very apologetic, and he can't do much to assuage Dunk's anger, and the two of them have a good long conversation before Baylor Breakspear shows up.
I've not heard of a Prince Egg.
Short for Aegon.
And I guess that's a weird way of saying it. It's not that Baylor shows up with Dunk. Dunk is brought to be in front of Baylor Targaryen. So Egg's there for a minute, and Baylor eventually just dismisses him and sends him on his way and kind of talks mano a mano with Dunk. And for the most part, again, a lot of this is pretty solid. There's not a whole lot to object to. There's minor stuff, there's lighting, or maybe some of the lines could have been worked out a little bit better, but they do a really good job of sticking to a majority book dialogue. Again, when the HBO writers stop trying to do their bullshit and they just lift off George's homework, they're pretty good at copying homework. They do a pretty good transfer of what we were basically getting in the books to the screen, and there's honestly not that much that can go wrong here, and it doesn't go wrong. It's all pretty good. And beyond just better dialogue, generally better writing going on here where it's not off in the weeds into some dumbass shit, one of the best things about this series of scenes here, it's not the weird rushed shit that we often got at other important scenes when they seem to just fly right the fuck by you without any concern for whether or not this feels well paced or anything. So I have to hand it to the guys here, this was a great improvement in terms of just giving the characters time to have a conversation and not hop, skipping, and jumping right on to the next thing.
How good a knight are you? How skilled at arms?
Sir Erlen taught me sword and shield and how to tilt at rings.
You can see there's pauses for breath, atmosphere, there's pauses for the characters to emote and express. This is a lot stronger of scene work than we saw certainly in episode 1. It does seem like there's been some pretty big improvements in certain, basic elements of the construction of scenes here. So after their conversation, Dunk has to go in front of the trial board basically and present his request for trial by combat. And I have heard quite a few little nitpicks about this scene. However, I consider it all to kind of be, not mega important stuff. It might be weird that Maekar doesn't know what a trial of 7 is, but maybe he just isn't that well read on trials by combat or something like that. And so there might be some minor things that are misplaced, but overall, this flows pretty well. The characters seem to be upholding what their role is in the books. Much of the dialogue is, again, from the books. We get a little bit of some stuff with the prince, like knocking his walnut shells on the ground and making Lord Ashford pick them up. And like, I think that is supposed to symbolize Lord Ashford kind of being, groveling and like willing to, bend over and do whatever it takes to please the Targaryens. Because definitely we're already informed that he's going to rule against Dunk to like garner favor. And I think that that's what they're trying to demonstrate here. Maybe could have been handled a little bit better, but overall it's not super egregious. For the most part, we're continuing on with a strong scene, nothing too weird, decent dialogue. It's all shaping up pretty good so far.
Must be 7 against 7.
You must find 6 other knights to fight beside you.
But I have no one else.
Well, if a cause is just, good men will fight for it. If not, it won't be because you were guilty.
I mean, I guess if we wanted to get really technical, we could like pick on some of the cuts here and stuff, but like overall, we're seeing material that's keeping us in like high C, low B area firmly, which is good. It's a substantial improvement from some of the low lows we were seeing previously. Now, honestly, I think the weirdest thing about this scene is like he's eating walnuts after like having like his teeth almost knocked out. Like I think he like didn't remove it, but it was loosened. But still, like, I don't know how you'd be crunching nuts, like, with a bunch of loose teeth, or even, like, with a single loose tooth. That just seems kind of risky to me. So tell me in the comments section, like, if you've been in a fight, or, like, if you do, like, UFC sports or something like that, if you've gotten rocked, like, really hard in the mouth, do you go eat nuts afterwards? Like hard, crunchy things? Or do you avoid that for a little minute or two? Because that seemed weird to me. Not really like a big objection. I guess it just might have made more sense to have him eating like something soft, like I don't know, like soup or like mashed beets or like I don't know, what's like a soft Westerosi food. Put that in the comment section too. What would you rather eat after almost getting your teeth knocked out? Would you rather eat hard, crunchy stuff or a soft food that you can list below? So after the terms are decided, Dunk goes out and he's walking in the rain and he's heading back towards camp. And then we get a scene where he's just, hanging out, chatting with the horses really briefly, just kind of having a little horse time. And I know I've said it before, but I love all the, like, character interacts with horse scenes in this. Like, you probably could do, like, a whole, like, just sort of more, like, indie piece where it's just, like, a guy in the wilderness and he just, like, every once in a while, like every like 20 minutes in the film, he just like talks to his horse for a minute or two. And I think it would actually be super good. Like it's an untapped, maybe it is tapped, I don't know. List me below if there's a great movie out there about a guy who talks to a horse every once in a while and it's largely just about the cinematographics. But I think that was like one of the big cool things about this is like the little conversations with the horses or like when Egg was out with the horse. It's cool. It works out well. I like these.
I've mucked it up this time. I think I'm gonna die tomorrow.
So immediately after, he says a few words to his horses. Fossaway shows up, and he invites him back to Camp Fossaway to kind of talk it out and figure out where to go next. Now, the elder Fossaway is there, and again, I strongly disagree with how they chose to have him play the character, or like how the actor chose to play the character. I don't know whose decision this was. It's very, very different than how he was portrayed in the books, and I think it doesn't work very well with the ultimate reveal of what he does a little bit later, which is like the betrayal. And it's like, so my biggest objection is I do wish they just had his tone and demeanor be different here. But overall, in terms of what happens, the conversation, how things go, this isn't bad at all. Like this is more fun with him, I thought, than the previous time we encountered him. And the lines are paced better, the delivery is a little bit better. They even got kind of better lighting going on in here than in previous scenes in the dark. So, like, overall, not a bad scene here. Could have used something better, I think, but we're not falling short. We're delivering on what we're supposed to have in the scene. Now, something that definitely doesn't work here and does not make any fucking sense in this scene is they have Raymond advise him to run. And that's just weird. In terms of like knightly honor and like what matters to both of these characters or what matters in the society, like that would be extraordinarily shameful and definitely not something one bro would suggest to another good bro. But also like it's really, really risky. If Duncan tried to run, his life would be totally forfeit and taking him and capturing him would be the goal of like everybody he could possibly run into. He would need to literally flee Westeros for like the Free Cities or the Wildling North or something like that. It's both just totally infeasible for him to run, and it's just not something that the character or the other characters here would be cool with. And as we're going to see later, like, Raymond's going to put his life on the line to fight for Sir Duncan once his older cousin betrays Duncan. So, like, he's definitely not like a big old wuss bag or something like that. Like, you would think that given his own characteristics that he shows within this same episode, that he would be encouraging Duncan to stand and defend his honor and defend, you know, the weak and all that sort of stuff, and to, you know, hold his ground and have the fight. And then following up with this scene, we get another scene that I thought kind of just fell off the rails a little bit too much. Like, Egg shows up, and his brother is there to tell him that he's willing to take a fall. And Dunk is, like, in character in the books. He is angry. Like, he is angry at the guy, and he does get all pissed off. But I thought they took it, like, a little too far with him actually, like, taking the dude down and, like, holding a knife to his throat. Like, you just got in trouble for doing this. And I know he says, oh, they can't kill me twice or whatever. But, like, dude, like, this is a little bit over the edge. Like, yelling at the guy, making a verbal threat or whatever maybe is one thing, but, like, what if you pissed off the dude, like, so much that he wouldn't fucking help you or something? Like, I don't know. It just seemed to be a little bit gratuitous for what was going on here, but overall, when it all settles down and they talk it out, it's really not too bad. Like, I do have some nitpicks to it a little bit. I think that some of the acting lines, like, some of it could have been delivered a little bit better, but the core content, again, we're not straying so far from the books or, like, off into an asshole that I feel like things are really that egregiously bad. Sometimes things don't make a lot of sense necessarily, or they kind of get off character or get off track, but we're not suffering some of the, like, really horrible stuff that we've sat through before. So, you know, I would say we're still on pretty even keel here. So we get some prophecy dream talk, and again, this guy having dreams and the dragon in the field and Duncan surviving. This is all from the book. It's good stuff. I like the dream stuff. I like they didn't cut that out or something like that. I do wish, like I said in episode 1, I kind of wish they'd done a little more to introduce his character and talk about the dreams or whatever. But, like, at least they covered it here, and I liked that.
A great beast, with wings so large they could cover this meadow, had fallen on top of you, but you were alive, and the dragon was dead.
And again here, like, in episode 4, we're having, like, some of the best pacing for all these dialogue-heavy scenes. We're getting some much better delivery of the lines without weird cuts and sound problems and stuff. So, like, overall, again, I'm trying to express that this is, like, this works. I mean, maybe it's not 10 out of 10, but, like, it totally works. We're not seeing, like, a bad production here.
It may be that I've killed you with my lie. And if so, I'm sorry. I'm doomed to some kind of hell, I know. Likely one without wine.
I mean, we get the wine line, so, like, quite frankly, there's very little for me to whine about. So Duncan wanders back to the site of the puppet show because he's, like, wondering about Tonsil Toothall and all that sort of stuff, and then he runs into Pate, or I guess Pate runs into him, and he informs him that he's had the shield that he was having painted left in his care. So they're sitting down in the wagon, and this scene's, like, pretty good in my opinion. I like this one a lot. It's rather true to the book dialogue. Pate busts out the shield. They have a bit of a conversation. Dunk has a teary moment, which I actually think is pretty good. Like, I don't recall off the top of my head if he, like, cries in the book, but he is quite distraught, and he kind of starts obsessing over the shield and saying, like, you know, the falling star, it's maybe it's a bad omen and everything, and, like, why would I have my shield painted like this? It's like a nightfall, like, this could all be negative. And then Pate bucks him up, and he's like, no, man, the elm tree is alive. Look at the green leaves. And again, this is all, like, true to the book. And I think, like, minor issues aside, and maybe, you know, minor dialogue shifts aside or something like that, they actually captured this moment rather well. This feels to me like how it was supposed to feel in the book.
Your rim was old. Cheap steel. Brittle and rusted. I've made you a new one. It's twice as thick. I put some straps on the back.
You're getting the vibe of, like, what was supposed to be going on. And again, I think the actor who plays Pate's really strong. I like him. He looks the part. So this scene was, to me, a really good scene.
Stars fallen. And the sunset heralds night.
The shield is all painted up like death.
The elm's alive, man. See how green the leaves are? That's summer leaves, for certain.
Do you see what I mean? This is honestly like a summer scene amongst many a winter scene, you know, in terms of our production here. And like, again, the ball's been rolling along pretty sturdy throughout this whole episode. So I'm like, this is pretty strong in my opinion. Like, again, I'm not going to say it's like a perfect grade or anything like that, but like, we're getting more into that, like, what the show should be kind of territory. Like, I want to stress again, when the writers are almost entirely directly just lifting from George, they give the acting and, like, the set people and, like, all the production staff, like, something that can really be worked with. And this should be the standard that we're looking at for a show like this. Like, maybe there's some stuff to sort out or whatever, but this is the strong material. So we get a little cut of them, like, setting up the yard for the event, and then, like, Dunk's, like, watching on and everything, and this must be, like, early morning or something. Otherwise, this is a really abrupt cut to, like, the morning. I can't tell what's going on there specifically, but nice gamison. Like, look at that gamison, man. That is a fucking nice-looking gamison. I'm proud. I like that. So Dunk sees his champions assembling, and there's great horse armor. And they have a few, you know, not too bad dialogue exchanges where they kind of explain why they're there. It's maybe a little bit fast. Like, I wish we could have gotten some more going on earlier with the characters to get a little bit more of an introduction to the reason why they're here. But they're here. That's what counts. And we got some sick fucking armor on Lord Baratheon. And that's really good. Like, I cannot stress enough how important this kind of stuff is to, like, a Song of Ice and Fire, like, productions and to, like, a Song of Ice and Fire stories. So the armor work, a lot of it in here was just absolutely fucking wonderful, and I loved it. Now, that said, I do feel like we could have used even more color. I know I say this a lot, but, like, read the books, man. Like, color and pomp and, like, feathers and cloaks and fucking, you know, all kinds of, like, elaborate, insane, colorful shit is, like, a major part of all these guys' like, you know, getup. And so it would just kind of have helped a little bit. I do like Lord Beesbury's pants he's got going on there. The bees really got, like, done, like, not great in this. We didn't get much shine with him, and he's way less flash like he should be. You know that song, like that one, like back in the day that was like black and yellow, like that's like Lord Beesbury. And
yeah, you know what it is. Everything I do it big. Yeah, screaming that's not when I pulled off the lot, that's done.
And really he should have been like a little bit more like, Beesbury, bees, the bee's knees, man. But still, like, Dunk's outfit here, I absolutely loved. It basically is exactly what's described in the book. So overall, again, I would have turned the volume up to 11 on some of this stuff, but they do have the volume pretty high, and that's cool. Like, I do want to give them props for having it high up to a certain degree. Like, they had a lot of people who liked to do the costuming, and that's good. And then, like, Stefan Fossaway is out here, and his kit just fucking rocks, bro. I love his fucking kit. This shit is awesome. It's super cool. Really, really good. I think they actually had him in like a chain outfit, kind of more like Dunk in the books, but like this is fucking lit. Like, this is so cool. So I'm all in on his kit because it is so awesome, and it's that type of kit is exactly the kind of stuff that you expect to see among the High Lords. And he's not really a High Lord, but again, it's like I can forgive it maybe being a little less book accurate because it's so fucking cool, and it really embodies a lot of the dope armor that we hear about in the series more broadly. And I want to stress again how much I love the horse armor. Like, I know it's like probably some people would consider that a minor detail, but like, it's not. This is the kind of stuff that really enriches a scene. And like, the people in the background of the credits who were armoring the horses, like, they deserve the slot that like Ira Parker had in the thing because they did so much better at their job than he did. Like, armor guys, horse armor guys especially, if I ever run into you in a bar or something like that, like, you will not get a clout in the ear from me. I will buy you a drink because you fucking earned it on this one. And like, if you're kind of getting your panties in a wad and you're wondering like, why is he so into the costumes? You know, like, it's a fucking visual production. Picture's worth 1,000 words. And when it comes to visual productions, like, these are the details that can make or break a scene or a series. And like, you do need to give it up to the people who are responsible for putting on some of this stuff, because they do a bunch of hard work, and a lot of it goes unsung. Like, one of the best things about this entire episode was Dunk's costume. So don't let that slip you by, because it is a major portion of what makes a production, and they're keeping the faith with the vibe and the series and the book, like, so much more than the writers were the majority of the time. So Raymond learns that his cousin's a treacherous little bitch who's given it up for a lordship, and then he turns on him like a real man should, puts him in his place and throws his fucking helm at him. And he asks Dunk to knight him because Dunk is now extra low on, competitors on his side. And he's going to be forced to concede the trial if he's not able to get more people to fight for him. But Dunk's a bit hesitant and he's not ready to knight Raymond, so Baratheon steps in and does it for him. And this scene was pretty cool. Like, I thought that they did this scene quite well.
I shall give Squire Raymond his knighthood. In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the Father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the Mother, I charge you to protect the young and innocent.
So the only thing that I object to along here is that they get to the maiden's prayer, like, in the name of the maiden, I charge you to protect all women and stuff like that. And, like, he was protecting, like, Tonsil, so it kind of would have made a little bit more sense, like, if that vow had been kept, because they don't do all the vows in the book. He gets through, like, 4 of them, and then it cuts off, and he's like, Dunk is, like, beyond his hearing or whatever. But again, like, overall, that's a very minor nitpick. The scene is quite good, and I like it. Up until this happens, and this is where it really falls off a cliff. Dunk's, like, looking up and thinking of Sir Arlen, and you expect him to, like, smile down. He's the one who taught him all his vows. He's kind of like the reason for the rhyme of all this whole nonsense with being a knight and all that sort of stuff, and, like, why he chose to be this kind of knight, like the good knight that protects the innocent and stuff. And they just have him fucking shrug, because they just seem absolutely incapable of committing to anything in terms of character consistency with Sir Arlen. And, like, number one, that fucking sucks, because he's a really big, important character to Dunk and to Dunk's backstory, but also, like, it just ruins the moment. Like it's another way of taking a shit on the scene without them actually having to inject a butt into the scene. And we'll get to that in a minute too here, but they totally, like, drive the scene off a fucking cliff with this. It's a very disappointing moment. But back to the fight, Dunk is still down one knight, and he tries to go in with 6, but they tell him that's not gonna fly, and he's gotta find a 6th knight or he's automatically declared guilty. So, he's in a bit of a pickle, and he needs someone to help pull his, fucking pickle out of a barrel or something, whatever the fuck the phrase is. So in a really big, important moment, Dunk turns to the crowd, full of noblemen and knights, and he appeals to them, and he appeals to their sense of honor. And this starts off quite strong. Again, they lead in with a good foot.
I know none of you remember Sir Erlen of Pennytree, but I was his squire. We served many of you. He was a good man. And he taught me how to be a knight. A knight defends the innocent. That's all I did.
And the crowd looks on and, like, tellingly, they don't say shit. And that's how it is in the books. People are just looking away. They're not caring. No one's willing to stand up for honor and for decency. They won't compromise themselves, in order to uphold what's right in the world. And so Dunk keeps talking about Sir Arlen, and he gets increasingly upset to where he's almost like, losing it a little bit.
I was not Sir Erlen's blood, but I have followed his example. As your sons will follow yours.
And the crowd's just looking on, and they just seem like such pathetic pussies by comparison to this dude who's willing to stand up and fight for the right thing. Like, it's a good scene. They got all the right parts going on here. It's great. The lines, the camera work, the sound, everything's on point, and it's all coming together. And then, in a moment that easily encapsulates the ethos of the writers here, they're very, like, spirit and approach to craft. Some dude just takes a big fat fucking rip and fart. And like, holy shit, man, like, how bad at everything do you have to be to do this? This is just, my God, they took this episode from like a high point to like a giant fucking fart. I mean, like, I guess in a way you have to admire it. Like, in the same way that you gotta admire George, because he's really good at subversion. You think he's going one way, and he'll switch it up on you and go a different way. You think these guys are going good, like they're gonna produce something good, and then they just a giant fucking fart. Like, honestly, there is an art and a craft to how bad they are at their art and their craft. Like, honestly, these guys are, like, so good at causing, like, a fucking train wreck in their episodes that, like, I bet they could wreck a fucking train in, like, a picture of a train. They got that kind of fucking talent. So Dunk, like, screams at the writers for butchering what otherwise would have been a really cool television show, or, like, maybe he's yelling at the lords. Like, at this point, you're so disengaged, it doesn't even fucking matter anymore. And then Baelizi Targizi shows up, and like people don't know who he is at first because he's wearing his son's armor, but he takes off his helm, and holy shit, it's the Crown Prince. He's gonna stand with them. And like we keep getting shots of one of the unnamed prostitutes from like season 1. Like somebody in the writer's room like had the hots for her, like not enough to make her a named character, but like enough to be like, give me some shots, yo. And like Makar's pissed at his brother, and then we get some horses, riding off, and everyone sets up, and then credits roll. And so, yeah, that's a wrap on the episode. And, other than some, pretty harsh complaints for that absolute ass clown shit at the end of the fucking episode, this one probably was the strongest one so far. The writers did the least of their bullshit, and they did the most of copying from George's homework. And as we all know, when they just decide to buckle down and copy George, they can produce mediocre TV. It's worth watching. So yeah, that's really all I got right now. I hope you enjoyed this little commentary and review. And I know I can be harsh, I know, but I mean, I'm just demanding that people do their fucking job and do it decently and not waste the fucking millions of dollars and the, really awesome bitchin' source material that we all like so much. Well, some of us like so much. I guess a lot of us don't give a fuck at all, right? And look, if you don't give a fuck at all, I mean, that's totally fine. Just don't go on to become a writer for HBO and, fuck up shows, right? Just stay home and do that, not giving a fuck at all shit. Kick back, put on some HBO, don't give a fuck, right? That's the life. And for those of you who've stayed subscribed, stuck around, and are having a good time as we trash on this absolute trash, you guys are the real ones. I love you. Shout out to you guys. And I will see you in the next episode. Which, holy shit, man, if you thought I cursed a lot in this one or something, oh boy, you gotta wait till that fucking next one. That next one is just fucking ass. Man, it sucked. And I'm gonna rant about it. So, stay tuned, come back, and, let's make fun of this train wreck, So hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you next time.